Funny about that. You know who was asking about you the other day? Who's that? Nobody.
We talking about sports, get ball.
What it do, baby? Yeah.
What it do, you number one podcast listeners? We are back with a brand new edition of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. I'm your host, Premal, and I got a special guest here with me for this episode. It's been too long. We just did the math. It's been 3 whole years. But I am very honored and happy to be joined by my friend, acclaimed podcast host of Game Master Monday, Grant Nordine, is with me today for this edition. Grant, so glad to have you back. It's been too long, man.
It's been too long. We figured out it was like 3 years almost of the day. The last time I was here, I was ranting about Aaron Rodgers lying about being unvaccinated, and wow.
Yeah. It hasn't gotten any less dramatic.
Or better. I'm just glad he's out of my hair.
He's not your problem anymore.
Literally. Now he's Tom Gironda's problem.
Yeah. So, number one podcast listeners, we've had a spot. Grant's podcast has been nice enough to sponsor an episode not too long ago. But Game Master Monday is Grant's pod. It is, Grant, I can't do it as much justice as you. You want to give a quick plug for your podcast?
Yeah.
It is very entertaining.
Thank you. I know the Venn diagram of sports fan and tabletop role-playing fan is a very slim line, but we'll make it appealing here. If you like improvisational storytelling and comedy and drama and horror and all this stuff, come check out our show. If you've heard of things like Dungeons and Dragons, we do those types of games and improv storytelling over there. If you're a Dropout fan, maybe you've heard Dimension 20, similar show. We do a new story every single episode with an entirely different cast every episode. It's funny, it's sad, it's scary, it's dramatic, it's religious, it's vulgar, it's all these other things. So if you would like to laugh about something for a change, you can come check out Game Master Monday. I try to make it as approachable as possible. And hey, we almost won an award this year, so if that doesn't sell you, I don't know what will.
Oh yeah. No, number one podcast listeners, I've known Grant for a long time. Super hardworking dude. Couldn't happen to a better person. He's got quite a following. Check out Game Master Monday. It was something that was intimidating for me. I've been on a couple episodes of Game Master Monday, and it was so much fun. Truly, it is very approachable, even if you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. Grant's the right person for the job, so check it out. I'll link his show in our episode description for this episode, so that, the Venn diagram can expand a little, that inner circle can get a little bit wider,
Hey, we're trying. One thing we're doing here soon, if it's not out already, it should be out soon, is I'm doing a football flavored thing for the fall, so come check it out.
Love it. Go check out Game Master Monday. You won't regret it. If you're new to it, give it a chance. That's all I'll say about that.
That's all I ask.
Okay, Grant, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
I think you still know the drill. We're friends, we support each other, so we still listen to each other's podcasts. So
long-time fan, never miss an F, baby.
What it do, baby?
Yeah. Grant knows what's up. So we're going to kick things off with the FM or not, and I got a few good ones. It's going to be right up Grant's alley to scratch that sports podcast itch
it's good.
that hasn't been available yet.
It's like doing heroin again.
So.
Here we go.
Yeah. Don't do drugs. Do listen to number one podcast in your headphones, though.
Yeah, no, for
certified.
real.
Okay, so Grant, I'm going to give you some headlines. We're going to try to keep it to like a phrase or a word association, but feel free to expand as you wish. But
yeah.
First up, we're a little bit into the NBA season. I wanted to go over a few headlines, and you tell me what sticks out to you, if you're fam or not to the NBA season so far, or if
For sure.
it doesn't interest you so far. But, okay, first up, injuries. There have been a ton of them. We talked about on previous episodes, we already started the season in mid-season form. Kawhi Leonard's out. Joel Embiid started out. Paul George started the season out. He's since returned. But now you've seen injuries to Chet Holmgren. I know that's a painful one for you, Grant. Zion Williamson, speaking of midseason form, he's out. He's week to week. Ja Morant, Tyrese Maxey, Kevin Durant. Those are some big names that are the new flavor of injury terminology is now week to week. NBA teams seem to be using that a lot, and a lot of these players are considered week to week per their injury report. Next up, at the time we are recording this, the Cavs started the season 12-0. They are the 8th NBA team to begin a season with 12 straight wins.
That's bananas to me. That's only happened 8 times.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Like, you would think with all the good teams out there that they wouldn't just be the 8th. And
yeah, like all the historically good
not
teams.
Not to spoil anything, but you could have given me guesses, and I knew the Cavs were going to be good, but not 12-0 good.
Yeah, no kidding.
The surprise the other way is the Milwaukee Bucks being 2-8, and they seem to be having quite a lot of issues with that team. Speaking of injuries, they are still missing Chris Middleton, but I don't know that that accounts for a difference from 2-8 that much. Obviously, LeBron and his son Bronny were the first father-son duo to play together in a game. Talk about a crazy moment. So, Grant, FM or not, NBA season so far, you into it this early? What stands out to you?
I am into it this early because the Thunder are still the number 1 seed in the West. It's a weird season because so many people are going down early. I think the overall quality of the NBA maybe has decreased a little bit, but I just think that's sports in general across the board.
Yeah.
I think LeBron and Bronny playing together is cool, but I'm also like on that side of people that are like, Bronny wouldn't be in the NBA if LeBron wasn't his dad. Like, literally the only reason why he's there. But, you know, I'm having a good time. OKC's been a lot of fun to watch. Been minutes some nail biters against some good teams. I am big sad over Chet shattering his damn pelvis, but still got Shea, so we're good.
Yeah, the Thunder were definitely they're no longer under the radar, but if you didn't catch on, number 1 podcast listeners, Grant is a Thunder fan. So
for you 76ers fans out there, this is what trust the process
Look,
means.
I say petty, so I don't have to get petty.
This is how it's supposed to work.
Not to tease too much, but more on the Sixers and one of their superstars later. I'm a fan. I'm a big NBA fan in general. The one that stands out to me is LeBron and Bronny.
Yeah.
Talk about a crazy moment. It was cool to see Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. there. I mean, what an incredible accomplishment. Yes, it's probably very likely that Bronny's on that team because of LeBron. But talk about another list to add to the GOAT, LeBron James.
If I was LeBron James in like year 20, 21, whatever it is now for him, and I have the opportunity to do whatever I want basically because I'm the god of basketball, I am absolutely going into my owner's office and being like, you draft my son or that's it. You just say it. Like, you just tell them.
Now, the thing I like though is like they didn't mandate he be on that. Like, Bronny's already started with their G League team. So it's not as if they were unrealistic, like he was going to see major minutes. Even when he did play those first few games, they had a cool moment. They got to play in Cleveland. Cleveland had a nice welcome, like they do these posters and stuff, and they showed Bronny like at one of the parade celebrations as a kid. So kind of what a flex. And yes, I think
exactly it is a flex.
We talked about it before. It's a big flex. Like, if we're going to talk about having an issue with LeBron, let's keep it all the way 100 and have issues with nepotism because it runs rampant in sports. So a player doing it is the least of your worries. If you find yourself complaining about it, there's a lot of other places that you can take that.
At least this is fun nepotism, you know? It's like giving a kid a chance to show like his athletic ability. Totally. It's not, I own a company, let me make my son the head coach of the Falcons or anything, you know?
Exactly. Or I own a team that's considered America's team and that's going to keep giving fans nightmares because one family owns it. Something like that.
Something like that. Just for example.
Allegedly, that's a team.
Allegedly.
Next up on FM or Nah, the 12-team college football playoff. They've released the first few sets of rankings. Obviously, similar to previous years, they start kind of over midway through the season to start having the committee rank their teams. For you number one podcast listeners, I think it's pretty well known by now since the rankings have come out, but as a reminder, 4 top conference champions will get bye weeks. Does not necessarily mean they're ranked 1 through 4, and that looks like it's going to come to fruition in this inaugural 12-team playoff season. It looks like they're going to be 2 conference champions that will get byes over teams ranked higher than them. It is more and more looking like the ACC and Big 12 will be 1-team bids to the playoff. If the latest rankings are any indication, it'll just be the 2 teams that secure bye weeks, and it doesn't look like they're getting any at-large. It's trending that way. So the ACC, who's currently their top team, is Miami, who suffered their first loss, and the Big 12's current top team is BYU, who is still undefeated. My yeah fam or nah to you? Yeah fam or nah? You like the format? Is this sustainable, this model of having teams kind of jump others to get a bye week?
I like a 12-team playoff because it's never made sense to me to have 100+ schools in the CFB and only like 2 get a shot, or then it was 4. So I like that we're expanding it because it increases the odds for parity and chaos. That I like. I don't like the corporateness of it because now we've introduced this whole... I mean, okay, I'm going to just speak as a person who cheers for his alma mater, who is in a B-League fucking conference. I'm a UNLV guy, and I've been trapped in the Mountain West forever. And no Mountain West team is ever going to win the national championship. And I understand that. But as a result of all the Big 12, not the Big 12, the 12 playoff scheme and the conference leaping and the this and the that, like now teams are trying to look for their exit to go into like a bigger conference, or I don't know. I hate that the Big 10 has more than 10 teams. I hate it. I hate that the Big 12 is more than 12 teams now. I don't like that. It makes my brain hurt. And I think you're going to see even more of that as we go along. I mean, we saw like the Pac-12 like practically disappear overnight out of nowhere. So like I don't like that. I don't like that because we did this. We now have to do this other thing that puts us in a position to be in front of more eyes. We have to like go where the money is, all this stuff. It's like you are college teams. This isn't the fucking like Champions League. What are you doing?
I'm a yeah fam to the 12-team playoff. I do temporarily like that there's a clear criteria to get a bye in the playoff.
Yeah.
Now, in execution, I don't know how sustainable it is because, to your point, I mean, with these super conferences, the people that are running the show are the Big Ten and SEC. I don't think anybody's disputing that.
No question.
And for them to get just 1 team each that's going to get a bye, and they're going to sit there, if this latest rankings any indication, they're each going to have 4 teams in the playoff, and 3 of them are going to have to play opening round games. I don't know how sustainable that is and how much they're going to like that, especially when there are realistic scenarios where teams, in order to win a championship, have to play 17 games, which is up from like a max of 15 in the previous model. So that part, I don't know how long, because let's take these first rankings, for example. Obviously, I'm an Ohio State alum, go Bucks alert.
What it do,
they
baby?
are ranked 2 in the latest ranking. Now, that's going to take care of itself. They're going to play Indiana. They're going to play Michigan. They're going to, if they survive those, they're going to play in a Big Ten championship against Oregon. So all that's going to sort itself out. But right now, they're ranked 2. But they're slated to be the 5 seed and have to play an opening round game just because of the nature of them being in the same conference as the number 1 team, Oregon. Is that sustainable for a few years? I don't know the answer to that.
I don't think so. I mean, like, yeah. I think we have to rethink the rankings entirely. If this is the way they want to do it, we're gonna have to figure out how they do it in the majors, right? Because like you don't see 2 teams from the same conference going to the same division, even going to the Super Bowl. Also, the sentence Ohio State probably has to play Oregon for the Big Ten championship made me like physically ill. Like I hate that sentence.
That's wild. It's still weird to think about. I mean, Big Ten Network is big here, and like tuning in and seeing Washington and
the
USC
historic
and
rivalry between the Bucks and Ducks. You know, like what the hell?
Yeah, crazy. But anyway, we'll see as time goes on. I always thought, like, my desired format was that the top conference champions do get an automatic bid no matter what their ranking is. Mm-hmm. But I always thought, like, a bye week should be earned. That's how I think the NFL should be too, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you should be penalized for being in a competitive division if both teams are good. Like, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, so I won't spoil anything, but
sure.
Just something to think about, number one podcast listeners. Let's take the NFC North, for example. You're a Packers fan, Grant. They have 3 really good teams in their division, and only one could theoretically get a top seed in the NFC.
Yep.
And the other 2 are going to be playing wild. I mean, everybody plays wild card weekend, but they would have to play an away game.
Yeah. My number one pet peeve in the new NFL format is that the 2 seed is no longer a bye week. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I think there should be an advantage to be finishing that high. But
yeah.
Anyway, I guess we can tackle that.
We'll rap about it later, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, my last yeah, fam or nah for the two of us is covering all sports here. The MLB World Series. Of course, everyone knows by now the Dodgers defeated the Yankees in 5 games. Freddie Freeman, who was scorching hot, like homer after homer, was the World Series MVP. So I want to get your yeah, fam or not. I'll let you button this one up, so I'll go first here.
Cool.
Because I know you have a lot to get to. But you know, my podcast listeners already know that I'm a nah to this. But I am a yeah, fam to the Yankees losing and their obnoxious fans. I would like to submit a power ranking of the Yankees' dads. Number 1 is the Astros. They are the Yankees' father. Number 2 is Fifth Innings.
Yep.
So Fifth Inning is slowly creeping up, but Stroh's still their dad. You love to see it. All disrespect given.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Also, special shout out, and we might as well sound the alert.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
To the Patriots for sending their private plane to take the Dodgers home after beating the Yankees.
So funny. So funny.
An absolute certified approved petty alert. Love that energy. You know we appreciate it here at the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. So
there is no better hatred than Red Sox Yankees.
Yeah, I'm an absolute nod of both these teams being in the World Series. But Yankees fans, we know a few of them. They've been a little over the top righteous. Listen, I know I'm an Astros fan. I know the history, but the righteousness of Yankees fans has been so ridiculous to me that I'm that meme, that dude at his hater's funeral. Just coming in to check in.
with the peace sign thrown up on the grave, yeah.
Yeah, yo, talking shit about the Astros going down to the Tigers, but you didn't win either. And it's been much longer for you, Yankees fans. 2009. Hate to see it.
Look, I stay petty, so I don't have to get petty.
Grant, take it away. World Series, yeah, fam or nah?
I was a nah fan, but that's 'cause I'm a Mets fan, and I really wanted Subway Series too. And, you know how sometimes you watch your team lose in like a conference championship, and then you watch the next game and you're just sick to your stomach because you watch how the other conference's champion played, and you're like, we could have beat him. Yeah. We absolutely could have beat this fucking team. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it now. That being said, I was really not a fan of the media really just taking the chance to dunk on the Mets the minute the Dodgers won. The Yankees beat the Guardians, and I didn't see anyone praising these amazing Yankees or making jokes about the Guardians team or players or their little in jokes and stuff. But because the Mets were happy for the first time in 40 fucking years and had joy behind their team, the Dodgers win and you see all the jokes about oh, Grimace found dad, or oh, that OMG song was corny as hell, and it's I'm sorry, you hate fun. And people rallying around a team of destiny who opened 0-5. Any other team in the league would have been media darlings, and we would have loved to see it, but no, because it was the Mets. We have to dunk on them. So I was annoyed by that, but it's good for the sport for the two popular teams to be there. Dodgers Yankees is historic. There were 3 million more people who watched this World Series than Rangers Diamondbacks. And even though I'm the kind of little goblin man who loves watching a low seeded team go to the championship, like has happened ever since they expanded the wild card, and was hoping history would repeat a third time. I can't sit here and deny that, like, having a real superstar in the sport who's becoming a household name is bad. That hasn't happened in a while. Like, over the past, like, 10 years, I want to say, I would ask my dad, who's not much of a baseball fan, like, can you name any current baseball players? And he'd be like, no. And then this year, I was like, can you name any current baseball players? And he was like, oh, I know that Shohei Ohtani guy. And I was like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
The sport is healing because it has a superstar again. And I know that when you're a hardcore fan or a longtime fan of the sport and you know everyone and you listen to everything, you dissect the media, like, every team is cool in your brain and someone's a star in there. So you like watching the underdogs. But for the everyman, you kind of need a Shohei.
Yeah, you need a headliner, for sure.
So, good for the sport. Glad he finally got his ring. He was sitting there as a Ferrari in the trailer park on the Angels. So, great. Don't do it again. This is you get one, okay? Mets season next season.
Yeah, he got out from Mike Trout, you know,
holding him back.
The six-tool player, the six tools injury. Mike Trout, always ready for Eagles season tickets. That man always finds a way. I always
wonder if Mike Trout escaped, but we'll never know. He was too loyal. He liked his off-season time.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, pretty much a nah, but obviously,
or whatever.
Whatever, yeah. Whatever is our buzzword for that. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, you number one podcast listeners, you know what time it is. Since we wrapped up Yeah, Fam or Nah, let's hit that You Played Yourself intro.
I'm petty as hell. And I'm super petty.
Here we
Petty Le Pew.
go.
All right, number one podcast listeners. Listen, I know you're expecting me to come on here and talk about Jerry Jones inexplicably trading for Jonathan Mingo, or Dak Prescott's hamstring injury making him out for the year, or Micah Parsons' quote about Mike McCarthy, or even Dak Prescott mouthing the words "we fucking suck" clear as day on a TV broadcast that went viral. Don't know how you don't know that cameras are following you, or a stupid window of direct sunlight that shines through half the Cowboys stadium, and an owner refuses to put up curtains that they have in the stadium that they can use. But, number one podcast listeners, I already told y'all football is dead. So you're not going to get it from me. Football's dead. I'm at peace with it. We're already thinking about the NFL draft. You know, we're moving on. We're worried about our fantasy team. Football is dead. The Cowboys made it so I don't have time to engage on all these things to raise my blood pressure. So if you guys want angry me, you can pause this, come back to it, pause this, go back to Football is Dead. It was the last episode, and you can hear me go off, or the one before that, or before that. But now it's dead, so you have to wait till next season for me to rant about them.
He's a new man, folks. Leave him alone.
I'm trying, man. As a father, I got to get this shit together, man. I don't have time to be raising my blood pressure.
He's got to be a good example.
Yeah. But number one podcast listeners, very much not dead to me, as you know by now, is Magic Mind. I've been talking about it a lot, but I made sure to put those around me on game. Grant, I made sure to put you on game with Magic Mind before we decided to restart 3 years later. I know you haven't had a chance to have it too much, but did you like it? Your first try, you game with Magic Mind?
You know, I'm really intrigued by it. I gotta stay sharp for what I do, absolutely. So your rave reviews for it, because ordinarily I'm not swayed by this sort of thing, but you talking about it has made me be like, you know what? I'm down, and so far so good.
Nice. And we're gonna might have to, as a thank you gift, order you a nice pack for you and the missus, you know, so we can up it.
Hell yeah.
Grant just wanted to give it a try, so we got a little small pack for him. Now me, as I told you guys, you number one podcast listeners, I took Magic Mind for 2 weeks straight in the morning as part of my routine, and because of the results of those 2 weeks, I continued it. Last time I talked to you all, I told you guys after 5 days I felt a difference. After 2 weeks, it was incredible. Magic Mind's clean ingredients, because of how clean they are, they take about 3 to 4 days to reach their full effect. So that's why I didn't want to kind of lose that progress I made and have to start that over. It's felt really good to be able to withstand the ebbs and flows of relying on caffeine previously. Obviously, I'm not not usually one to get jitters, but if you're a caffeine jitters person, Magic Mind definitely helps with that I found. It's hard not to get distracted, but it helps me focus better and have less lulls in productivity, especially in these full days that require my attention. There's no real time off from work to following 2 kids around, obviously. So I'm focused, mentally clear, motivated, productive, all while like keeping my stress at a minimum. And I think that's because of their ingredients, mushroom nootropics, adaptogens, plus the part that I like with my wife being a teacher and kids going to daycare, I call it being exposed to a petri dish of germs. So Magic Mind has 100% of my daily vitamin C and D per little bottle. So can't beat that, especially because 'tis the season. We all need it with the holidays approaching too. So you number one podcast listeners, you already know Grant hinted at it. You know I wouldn't recommend something I didn't use and trust myself. Magic Mind is tried and true for me. Over 2 weeks straight of using it, rave reviews. And the part that gives me a lot of peace of mind is that it's doctor validated, big into having scientific proof for something. I'm not just going to take something just because it sounds good. Magic Mind was created with scientific advisory board of doctors and medical researchers. They took over 10 years and hundreds of iterations to perfect the formula. And they have over 200 scientific studies behind every ingredient. And that's the kind of proof that I love to pass on to you all so that, you know, it's just, we're not just here bullshitting. So trust your boy. Number one podcast listeners, get you some Magic Mind. And the way you do it is by going to magicmind.com/prembrulee20. That's magicmind.com/PREMBRULEE, the number 2 and the number 0. And when prompted, enter the code PREMBRULEE20, just like you entered in the website, PREMBRULEE20. Keep in mind that's a slightly up. That code, PREMBRULEE20, gets you up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time purchase. And you do that by entering PREMBRULEE20 and going to the website, magicmind.com/PREMBRULEE20. Go get yourself some, enter that code, get up to 48% off, PREMBRULEE20. I'd get the 30-pack if I were you. It's the best value and most convenient to grab and go without running out. I just store it in like the top corner of my fridge. It's an easy thing to add to your lunchbox in the morning on the way out. Also, number one podcast listeners, if you struggle with falling asleep, that sort of thing, Magic Mind added sleep shots to help you fall asleep and improve the quality of your sleep and wake up refreshed. They've been selling out of these quick, but they also added gummies. I think they're meant to be an alternative to the shot form. I think the shots are delicious, so you can't go wrong with either one, but check those out at magicmind.com/PREMBRULEE20 and go get yourself some.
That's a hell of a deal. That's a hell of a deal.
Can't go wrong. You know, you're supporting science-backed product that'll really help you and make you feel clean while doing it. So, speaking of clean and speaking of winning, you played yourself to these. We got to talk about this, Grant.
Okay.
We talked about the World Series, but after the Dodgers won, we got these defied the odds posts after teams win. The World Series, you know, we talked about it being good for numbers. It featured the highest payrolls in baseball. No, people did not count the Dodgers fucking out. They did not count the Yankees out. They weren't doubted at all. You know, Grant, I read a Shohei Ohtani defied the odds post about him winning a World Series. Come the fuck on, guys. Their manager, the Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, said, quote, "We went through a lot of adversity. A lot of people counted us out." Bitch, who? Who counted you out? Who? Nobody counted you out. The Dodgers were plus 700 to win it all preseason. Ain't nobody count them out. Get the fuck out of here. If the Guardians made the World Series and wanted to say that, sure. Not the Dodgers, not the Yankees. Fuck out of here with all that. We don't need to do all this crap where we say everybody doubted us. If you want to create that narrative in your head, that's fine, but let's jump back to reality after you hoist up the trophy and realize that it was all a ploy to get your team motivated. You are not fooling any of us. Anything to add about that?
I want to play devil's advocate a little bit. I want to push back a little bit.
Oh, you're gonna zag like my brother does, Grant.
So here's my thing with the World Series in particular. Ordinarily, I hate this. Like, do you remember when, like, Tom Brady won, what was it, ring 6 or 7 or some shit, and was like, no one believed in us. Like, we did, not only did we believe in you, we were terrified you would do it. Like, we want you to stop. Please stop doing this to us so we can be
like, I'm waiting
again.
for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to say it.
Oh, literally. And this season, I think they're ramping up for it because the Chiefs have kind of looked abysmal, but are still somehow undefeated. Whatever. But with the World Series, it's weird and different because this normally doesn't happen. With the World Series, like, yeah, it's kind of a pay-to-play sport, but the recent streak has been like the teams who aren't paying a lot are winning the damn. The Rangers won last year, albeit, they traded for like Scherzer and whatever. But
by the way, they didn't make the playoffs this year. Neither here nor there. Go Stros.
Yeah, neither here nor there. Max Scherzer, pick up your phone. I'm trying to reach you. I have some things to say, but historically, it's like we had like the Nats, right, and then the Braves, and then the Astros in a weird 2022 when they managed to make it to the World Series. The Rangers and D-backs last year. We're seeing kind of like middle of the road spenders make it a lot of the time. And when people ask like who the fuck didn't believe in the Dodgers, a lot of us. The Dodgers are historic chokers. They broke the record for most wins in a single season.
They did not have Clayton Kershaw on their active roster. So true.
But it's like, it's like one of those things where you win the most games in a single season one year and then you blow it to the Padres. The Dodgers had so much hope and expectation that we were all waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it just didn't. Sure. So they were the favorites. I think they have the second or third highest payroll in baseball. Mets have first, but a lot of that is we're paying for guys who aren't on the Mets anymore because of the last 2 years. But it's one of those things where I get it, and to a certain extent, Shohei has overcome a lot to win his World Series. Yeah, he fully ring chased by going to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have a loaded roster, but even Shohei kind of went cold in the playoffs out of nowhere. Yeah. Like Freddie Freeman willed that team on his back, So there is an argument that odds did have to be overcome. They're historic chokers. They did have to spend a lot of money, which isn't a guarantee.
Shohei did beat a lot of odds. I mean, his former translator did not, but he beat some.
Hit the alert. Hit the petty alert. There was a lot of finagling the Dodgers had to do to land Ohtani, and of course they were the favorite to win. They did
that
it.
Deferred contract is bullshit.
Yeah, it makes me upset as a person who would like to win a World Series before he dies. But I am not a Dodgers fan by any stretch of the imagination, and I celebrate the fact that they clobbered the hell out of the Yankees as a Mets fan. I also am like, you know what? They did kind of earn it. Their last World Series was a Mickey Mouse World Series when they beat the Rays in 2020, and that stink was kind of hanging over them for 5 years. So, they had a decade's worth of unmet expectations to overcome, and they did do that. They had to spend a lot of money to do it, but they didn't.
Yeah, fair point. Fair counterpoint.
I miss baseball, bro. I miss it so much already.
It'll be back before we know it.
I know.
Okay, next up on You Played Yourself. The top 3 teams in the ACC do not play each other. So, that means likely a berth in their conference championship and a potential college football playoff bye will be based on a whole bunch of tiebreak. Listen, I know the odds and they rotate who plays each other, but it is crazy that none of the 3 teams play each other. It just so happens to be that way in this first realigned year of the ACC where they added a few teams. So I'm interested to see how that pans out. I didn't think Miami would lose. They were playing with fire. They had a lot of close games, and they finally got caught on one of them. They played a team that can run the ball in Georgia Tech. So we'll see how it pans out, but I'm interested to see where the tiebreakers end up landing in the ACC and who gets to go to their conference championship and have a chance at a bye.
It's a Wild West out here in college football, man.
Totally.
I feel like we're learning a lot of hard lessons early and fast, and I just hope we actually learn from them. Yeah.
No kidding. We teased this earlier. Before I open it up to you, if you have any, you played yourselves, but we talked about this a little bit. Joel Embiid, you played yourself, goes to Joel Embiid. He has had a rough start to the season. In addition to the injury, he had a altercation with the reporter, which led to him, I believe, shoving the reporter and getting a 3-game suspension. For that was the issue with him already talking about not playing back-to-backs. He had this to say after the backlash from not playing back-to-backs before the season even started.
I've broken my face twice. I came back early with the risk of losing my vision. Had broken fingers. I still came back. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, when I, see people saying doesn't want to play. I've been way too much. I've done way too much, for this city and, putting myself at risk, for people to be saying that. So I do think it's bullshit. I've done way too much for this fucking city to be treated like this. So done way too fucking much.
Yes, Joel. I'm sure Philly loves the 0 conference titles that the Sixers have. Like, I'm not naive. Like, I know he's done a lot for the city, played through injuries, but read the fucking room, my guy. Like, read the room. I don't doubt he's done good work in the community, all that stuff. But you play in Philly. If you can't handle that criticism, man, is it going to be a rough time for you. So you played yourself goes to Joel Embiid for being Joel Embiid to start the season.
Did we expect anything different? It's literally one of the 3 most challenging sports cities to be a star in. It's like Philly, New York, and Pittsburgh, I would imagine, maybe. I don't know, maybe.
But they're pretty. Yeah, I mean, Philly is definitely up there. And this crazy notion, it is a results-based industry you're in. I know you can play well, but the NBA is carried by stars. And if you have nothing to show for your stardom, despite playing through injury, they don't care. And especially Philly does.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing about legacy, too, right? Is if you don't have a ring on your finger in a sport where the all-time greats win rings, no one's sitting here saying people like fucking John Stockton have an argument on Mount Rushmore, right? You just go into the hall of, boy, he was pretty fun while he lasted, right? Yep. And that's where Embiid's going. And if the attitude problems keep happening, he's going to be like a Philly sports footnote. They don't give a shit. Yeah. They have other teams they can cheer for. The Phillies are still fun. The Eagles, for all their chaos, are still pretty fun. Shit, the diehard Flyers fans will argue tooth and nail they're going to win a Stanley Cup. They're not, but they're let them believe. It's bro, this is a city where it's what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, and they haven't even made it past. They haven't made it to conference finals. We're not even. Ring is putting the cart before the horse, man. Hasn't even sniffed a ring. Make a Eastern Conference Finals first. Do something. Yeah. In the Eastern Conference, of all the place where it should be wide open to do it, but nope. And you've had other injuries in that conference, too, famously in the last few years, and they haven't capitalized on it. So, Anyway, Grant, I know I've been yapping on You Played Yourself. Do you have anything to add? You played yourself? Anything that's... I know you've chimed in, but... You have anything? I'll respect the tradition here. The last time I was here, I talked shit on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I'll do it again. Hell yeah! That's what people want, Grant. Maybe if Aaron Rodgers had magic mind, we wouldn't be in this situation. Hell yeah! Maybe if he could just clear his head. There's your bonus plug for you. But I am eating up the absolute collapse of the Aaron Rodgers legacy in New York, keeping up the bold tradition of just burying all goodwill the minute you leave Green Bay. It's a tale as old as time. I can't believe it's happened twice. Just watching him this year, just watching him undermine every person above him because we have somehow bought into the fact that because he reads books, this must mean he is smart and knows what he's talking about. I mean, how many times do we see it where the all-time great quarterbacks, you put them in a booth to talk shop or give them a shot to run something and they don't know what they're fucking doing? Yep. Did you know, by the way, that in the 80s, Bart Starr was the coach of the Green Bay Packers? Crazy.
Would you like to know how many playoff appearances the Packers made under head coach Bart Starr? A cool 0. So sometimes the all-time greats don't know what the fuck they're doing football personnel-wise, and Aaron Rodgers has clearly gone to the Adam Sandler school of wanting to make millions of dollars while hanging with my friends, and is just hustling the New York Jets. Absolutely. You want Alan Lazard? You got Alan Lazard. David Bakhtiari can't make the field. He's too hurt. Whatever. He's a Jet now. We traded for Devontae Adams. That'll solve all of our problems, and we can't win with Devontae either. All this young, stacked talent, and to be fair,
fire a coach.
Fire a head coach, which may or may not be Aaron Rodgers' fault. Who knows? I am leaning towards May.
Yeah.
And Robert Saleh's a good coach, and you want to know what Robert Saleh's doing right now? Fine-tuning the Green Bay defense, and it's working. And
talk about a petty alert, by the way.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
When the minute I saw him in a Packers shirt at a practice, I was like, oh, my lovely little heart.
What a move.
That rules. I love it. I love being proven right. I love him being exposed for the fool he is. I love that every time he opens his mouth in an interview, the overwhelming response from the media is, look at this fucking clown trying to I do think that he's not a good leader thing is overblown, because he's clearly good at getting players to want to come to his side. Yeah. If he wasn't good at what he did, all the island of misfit Packers wouldn't be on the Jets right now. Yeah. I think he's a master manipulator and a liar, and is really good at getting people on his side because he's charismatic, similar to a certain person who won a thing recently. But I love watching the Jets fall apart. A part of me wants the Jets to be good eventually, but it's also like, boy, I sure was right about that guy. Yeah. Look at this. This is wonderful.
It's Vindication.
Freud at its finest. Vindication.
Totally.
That's my main one. I don't have a lot of other you played yourselves. I could talk about Max Scherzer leaving the Mets because he didn't see a future with us and then not making the playoffs, but whatever.
Love that. Hell yeah, Grant. That's what the people tune in for, man.
I aim to please. I've had this in me for 3 years, Premal. I gotta deliver.
You're getting a lot, yeah. So Grant, since the last time you and I hosted together, I've added in some non-sports you played yourselves, not to put pressure on you. If you have any, you can chime in. If not, it's okay. But
boy, do I.
My non-sports you played yourself goes to 4-hour plus service windows.
Oh.
Listen, I get service people are busy. A lot of times it's trades and they got a lot of calls to make. But what's the expectation for what we are? Like, I don't understand if you're working in an office and they're like, we'll be here sometime between 8 and 12. So what? I'm just supposed to take the whole day off waiting for you?
Right.
If you show up at 12, you're going to be working past that window. I think it's time we make service windows 2 hours max. And even that's pushing it. Like, give me an appointment, and if one of the service calls runs over, then so be it. We can reschedule, but these 4-hour windows ridiculous to me.
And they always come at the tail end of it.
Yeah,
like every time.
I want to know who gets the front of that window. Like, they said 8 to 12, and they showed up at 8. Who gets that appointment?
And how do I get their life?
Yeah,
how do I finagle that? No, I'm with you. Hire more people. Yeah, I know you can.
I mean, just appointments, and have the ones that are longer. Like, what do you need done? You kind of have an idea. I mean, like, have it a separate service, an emergency repair service versus I got my heater inspected today to make sure it's ready to go for the winter here. Something you don't have to deal with, probably, Grant.
I always wonder what the expectation is of the 4-hour window too, because are you giving them? Because, okay, best case scenario, right? We'll be there between 8 and 12. Let's say they get there at 8. Are we saying that they have, 4 hours worth of places to be at, and they're just handling them all in a big batch? Or are they you have 4 hours to hang out in this guy's house? What
they
is...
put multiple
I don't know.
I don't... And right. So my understanding, because I've talked to a few of them, is they kind of pick on their own. They get a whole list of them, and they pick on their own. I'm assuming what makes it the most convenient journey for them, but I'm like, why am I always the least convenient?
Yeah, it's gotta be like a route thing. Yeah, I'm a much bigger fan of a smaller window or a specific appointment time where it's very clear what's going to be happening, or moving things around. I don't know, making people wait, I feel like is a supply and demand thing, and if we're really like out here being like, boy, there sure aren't people who want to work, I'm sure people want to do that job. It's like, I don't know. If you're a bigger company, I'm just going to call out my internet provider. Hey, Cox Communications. Yeah. I had a 2-hour window thing the other day for like 5 in the evening, which is a bananas time to tell someone they're going to be at your house to work on your internet, which I need to do my job and stuff because I work from home. So it's like I had to take a whole like holiday off to like wait for Cox Communications to service my thing at 5 in the evening. And then it's like, well, surely there was other availabilities. Like, what the heck with that?
Crazy.
Hire more people to do these things.
Please.
Anyway.
You got any non-sports you played yourselves, Grant?
For the sake of time, I will spare you. But I'm sure I have plenty of things to hate on.
All right. Well, number one podcast listeners, let's move on to Am I Hatin'? Our newest segment. Still waiting on an intro from one of you number one podcast listeners for this. So we'll get a fancy intro for this eventually. But Grant, this is also new since last time we hosted. I know you're a number one podcast listener, so you know what's up. But we say statements that are most likely clearly hating, but this is a safe space, so we do it anyway, obviously.
Good.
So
finally,
my Am I Hating for this episode goes to people trying to make Halloween an entire season. Listen, I don't know what the equivalent of like a Scrooge is for Halloween, but I kind of am that, full disclosure.
Oh no.
Are y'all really out here decorating this much and trying to make one day of dressing up in candy into a season?
Yes.
It's not happening. And I got the perfect evidence for it. I know so many people, as soon as those trick-or-treaters were done for the night, they were decorating for Christmas. So I know this holiday doesn't have enough fight in it for you to question, am I hating this time? But the other factor I have in my convincing argument is that you don't even get a day off for it. So listen, all disrespect to Halloween, no disrespect to the candy part of it. That's my favorite part. So am I hating? Probably, but listen, like I said, it's a safe space. Grant, you got an am I hating? Are you questioning my am I hating?
Listen, I am the person who makes Halloween a whole season. I fucking love it. But I think it's expanded beyond dress up and candy, and it's now a celebration of like autumn in general and all things horror. And I'm going to tell you right now, here's my convincing argument. There are more good horror movies than there are good Christmas movies. I can watch a good scary movie every day for the entire month of October, and I cannot do that for December.
Okay, see, now I don't watch enough scary movies to have an accurate take about that. So I will buy
I think that's fair.
The Christmas movies are very top heavy. I know there's a lot of fluff that aren't good ones, so I could buy that probably. So now that's not a bad one, but listen,
I could fill a week and a half just watching the Saw movies and be happy.
Yeah, now I mean that says a lot about you, Grant, but we'll unpack that later, Grant.
They're fun.
You got an Am I Hating for your debut on this section.
I do, and I'm going to come out swinging for the fences, Premal.
Oh, okay.
I am tired of Taylor Swift getting Grammy nominations. Across the damn board. Every time she drops an album, with one notable exception, it has been the same flavor every time. And all I can hear is, hello, I am richer than God. I have so much privilege. My dad bought me a music career. Isn't that sad? And I'm like, please. Her most recent album's on the Tortured Poets Department. And I'm like, Taylor, in what world are you tortured? Like, truly. Like, please live a day in my life. Sit at my little L-shaped desk and tell me how hard your life is. Like, and then, like, every time I give her album a chance, I'm like, maybe this is the one. And it never is. Well, Folklore was good. I like Folklore. But every other time, it's been like, this is just like, what? Like, there are people doing the same genre better, and she's still on that Eras tour. And then you see like the quality of performers she's up against, these real trailblazers who are doing something cool and unique in their genre. Like this year alone, okay, she's up against Beyonce doing Cowboy Carter, right? She's going up against Billie Eilish, who's one of the most unique voices in pop. So unique to the point that we now have Billie Eilish imitators who are trying to come for the throne and can't. We have Chappell Roan, who is the most exciting thing that happened to pop music, like, in a long ass time. Like a huge celebration of like queer culture and queer music in the Midwest specifically, in a time where we desperately need that.
Totally.
So Sabrina Carpenter really bringing this cool, authentic, classic, old school pop vibe to it, and we have Taylor Swift sighing into a guitar, complaining about how hard it is she has to date Travis Kelce. Like, she's up against in Song of the Year. I swear to God, if Taylor Swift beats Not Like Us for Song of the Year, I will personally riot. I will be the one alabaster porcelain man.
You're gonna go up there. I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, literally, I'm gonna rush the stage and you go, I'm gonna let you finish. And I'll be like, my God, like,
Grant, you might as well accept that she's gonna win a bunch of those. If Taylor Swift wins those Grammys, that's the reason Trump won the election. I swear to God, it's because we don't have any like fucking self-reflection or any appreciation for diversity or genre. We're just like, whoever is the richest and the nicest sounding, you know, like, well, Grant really going for the jugular. He's trying to create the most amount of enemies in a debut segment, and I respect the hell out of it.
I was told it was a safe space, and I was free to say what I felt.
It is a safe space. Number one podcast listeners, you remember that.
Anyway, I'm praying for the Not Like Us sweep. That's the only way there's a God.
That'd be crazy. For a diss track to do that.
I just want a diss track to win a Grammy. Totally. I just want that on Drake's conscience. I want it to be like he hit me so hard he won an award.
That'd be nuts. What a debut to Am I Hatin', Grant?
Thank you.
Right for the jugular.
I wanted to. I wanted it to hurt a little bit.
I love it. Number one podcast listeners. That's why it was only right. Grant had to be back on.
My home address is as follows.
All right, now let's move on to who you got and what you feeling. Grant, you know the drill with this one. So last episode, myself and my cousin Sonny, we talked a little bit about the NBA, but did a little preview. There'll be more to come with that. I know we talked about headlines initially, but a little too early for picks and stuff. So what I wanted to do with you, Grant, I know you're a big NFL fan, so I wanted to do a little NFL contender, pretender. And there are a lot of, I feel like, tweeners, or I don't know what to make of if these teams are legit or not.
A lot of bubble guys.
Yes. Halfway through the season, and it feels like, there's some givens, the top heavy, given really good teams, but everywhere outside of those, like, top 3 to 4 teams feels like it could go either way. So I'm going to run down these, and you can just give me one word. If you want to add any context to it, feel free to, but even just saying contender, pretender works for me. First up, just got a big win against the Rams on Monday Night Football. The Dolphins are 3-6, but now have Tua back, obviously, and just won a big game. Their schedule sets up favorably coming up.
I'm still pretender with the Dolphins. Tua, please retire. That's all I'll say there.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's going to be tough to make up that ground, and I think the Bills are going to separate themselves. I think they're the best set up to win that division. So then they're running away with it. It's a lot of ground to make up. Then you're competing for 3 wildcard spots, which those are going to run out quick as we go down this list.
Yeah. You're building a team that's only offense based and with no defense. Anyway.
Totally. Now, their defense did play good on Monday night, so we'll see if that's sustainable or not. Next up is the 4-6 Cincinnati Bengals. Lost a heartbreaker on Thursday Night Football. Contender, pretender, Grant?
Pretender up until the minute they fire Zach Taylor. Once he's gone, they'll be back to contender.
Wow. I'm going to go with contender on this one. Someone's got to make a move, and they always kind of trend this way. Now, talk about an offense having to do everything because their defense is really taking a step back this year. But, Burrow and Chase are something else. So you have to think some of these games that they're putting up huge numbers have to start flipping the other way. So cautiously a contender. Not for the division, but maybe eking out a wild card.
They just need a real head coach, that's all.
So congratulations. You played yourself.
I love it. Love the spiciness. How about this? They are leading their division, but after crazy Sunday Night Football loss, somehow the Texans forced 5 interceptions against Jared Goff and the Lions, but still managed to lose. The Texans are 6-4. Are they contender, pretender?
I still think they're a contender. I don't think they're gonna like do it all or anything. It's year 2, but like it's a cupcake division. You know, they've shown the propensity to be able to beat big teams. They can only get better. I think they're fine.
Yeah, I'm going contender, and they're getting CJ Stroud's favorite target, Nico Collins, back.
Yeah,
it'll
be fine.
He was a game time decision, so I would imagine he's gonna be back in perfect timing for them to have a get right game against the Cowboys.
Niners lost 3 in a row last year too.
And nothing like playing the Cowboys to springboard your season. So that's where I'll leave it at.
A get right game.
Okay, the 6-3 Los Angeles Chargers, contender, pretender, Grant.
I legit forgot they were 6-3. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
I saw
too.
that
They've
number
flown under the radar,
and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Well, they're kind of. I mean, I'm gonna say contender because Jim Harbaugh did so the Chargers have this thing where they're like really exciting, but they keep losing. And then they flipped it to where they're really methodical and precise now and really rely on their run game, and it's not fun to watch, but it does win you games. I'm like, oh, all right then, contender.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. It is so boring to watch, but it is a recipe for success, I think.
If it works, it works.
It works, yeah. They've tried the other way, so why not try this method?
Yeah, it turns out Justin Herbert slanging it 40 times a game wasn't the answer.
My last AFC team that I have for you are the 5-5 Denver Broncos, which also is surprising to me.
What's in between pretender and contender? Pleasantly surprised by?
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. I'll eat my own foot here. I was a Big Bo Nix hater. I thought it was a terrible pick, and kid's good. Kid does it. He's doing fine. They're not gonna do anything amazing this year, but that's pretty much where you want to be with your rookie QB.
Yeah, showing progress. I agree. Yeah, I'm going to consider them a pretender. I think someone has to kind of take a step back, but I like how they built their team, and their defense is really good.
Yeah.
Full of young, really good pieces. So
that's a good year 2 rebuild right there.
Yeah, that part seems sustainable, but I think they got to probably commit more to a run game, I would think, for it to be really mask the rookie quarterback part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I know the answer to these two, but contender, pretender to the two teams atop the NFC East, the Eagles and Commanders.
I'm still contender. I mean, I'm pretender for the Eagles. I'm just
okay.
Listen. You can only barely escape so many bad teams until the eyebrows are being raised, and then Nick Sirianni's out here in press conferences hiding behind his kids so people don't make fun of him.
Oh my gosh, he is such a.
What's with this? I mean, he's so Philly. I mean, he's perfect for the city. Do not get me wrong. That dude's an asshole, and I kind of love it for him. But it's also you can only sure, you clobbered the Giants. Congratulations, everyone is.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I think their coach is going to get in the way of because in this context, it's I don't think anybody thinks they're not making the playoffs, but
yeah, they'll make it, but they're going to lose to a real team.
Yeah, I think so too, and it just feels like they have a lot of really good young pieces on defense, but it still hasn't fit all the way together. But I would still say overall I'm a pretender for championship purposes.
And I'm not even an Eagles hater. That's just the eye test, All
right, 7-3 Commanders.
Commies are contenders. Jaden Daniels is a revelation, as I knew he would be. I thought the Commanders would ruin him. Straight up, I thought they would ruin him. I was so sad they took him at 2nd overall, but he's been exactly what I thought he was. So I feel vindicated on the Jaden Daniels hype train.
If we're going off of their record and they're up high on the NFC playoff list, I'm going to go with pretender and real contention. I think they're probably a few steps away. But, the future's bright there. I just can't see them beating one of the top teams. So that's why I would consider them a pretender. But overall, way above expectations. I sure do miss Dan Quinn. So, okay, next up, I got a couple of NFC South teams. The Falcons are 6-4, and the Bucks are 4-6. In what has been the last few years a wide open division, especially since Tom Brady retired. Contender, pretender. One of them has to make the playoffs, by the way. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. Looking at their upcoming schedule, I think it's gonna be the Falcons. So I gotta go contender there. Bucks are just string of bad luck. for the Bucks constantly. Losing your top 2 wide receivers sucks. You know, like Baker's out there like having one of his better seasons, and it's not good enough.
Yeah.
You know, Todd Bowles is in way over his fucking head. I wanted it for him. I did. I love Baker, but I think it's the Falcons.
Yeah. I think the Bucks had too many injuries. I think I would have probably put them both as like potential contenders without the injuries. I mean,
yeah.
I know Mike Evans is going to come back eventually, but Godwin was having an incredible year until he got that like dislocated ankle and all that. So
it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I think the Falcons seem like they'll win that division, and they have a lot of fun offensive pieces, obviously. So, okay. Now, my last couple, it's not really contender, pretender, but it's more of just the standard who you got. The NFC North. Now, number one podcast listeners, Grant is a Packers fan, if you didn't catch it through his Aaron Rodgers rant.
And I'm very biased.
Yeah. But what I wanted to know, so right now, time we're recording this, the Lions are 8-1, the Vikings are 7-2, and the Packers are 6-3. My question to you, do 3 teams from the NFC North get into the playoffs?
Yes, I agree with you. I have no doubt. I have no doubt about it. And okay, here's my Packer. But I think the Packers will eventually leapfrog Minnesota because they're playing with house money. But no one's catching the Lions for the division. Quite frankly, no one's catching the Lions for the conference. They're playing a different sport than the rest of us.
Totally.
You know, like Dan Campbell has done amazing things for that team. I'm not so delulu that I'm like, well, we can do it. We're only 2 games back. No, the Lions got it.
I love how the Lions built their team. It reminds me of like it was my favorite way the Cowboys built their team, because in the middle like 2010s they started drafting offensive line and build their running game. That was like DeMarco Murray's breakout year, all that stuff. I just think that is the ultimate recipe to win. And then
that 14 Cowboys team should have been something. Yeah.
Yeah. And that Des caught it, by the way. Sorry.
Petty alert. Petty alert. Petty alert.
I know, Grant, we've been through this before, so I just had to add that in there.
Hey, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I think I love the way they built their team, and then they addressed, like, they had a deficiency at corner. They drafted 2 corner. It's like the exact way you'd want a team to be built, and they finally did it. I mean, obviously Detroit fans have suffered long enough, so... Yeah,
no, I mean, they deserve it at this point, and I feel like the writing's on the wall for them to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's anyone in the NFC who's really, like, a threat to them to take it. Like, you know, the ones who could be a threat, they're either too far behind them, or they're too banged up, or have regressed. We're going to talk about the West here in a second, because that's, you know, there was only really one team who had a shot, and they're up and down a lot. But yeah, I think 3 are going to make it. There's been a lot of Brett Favre comparisons for Jordan Love, which I don't think are totally warranted, but I get it. It's just kind of fun to have a real gunslinger in the league again and have him be like successful. But I think they're all going to make the playoffs, yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be them, and if it keeps trending this way, I think the third team would be like the other team from the NFC East between the Commanders and Eagles.
Oh, yeah. No, that checks out for sure.
But, you know, anything can happen. Obviously, they've been also, unfortunately, a lot of injuries, too. Hopefully that's not the reason, and hopefully it just gets sorted on the field. But you teased it. My last question for who you got before we get to our what we're feeling. The NFC West. It is a logjam. So the Cardinals are 6-4. The 49ers are 5-4. The Rams and Seahawks are 4-5. So you're talking about 2 games separating every team. NFC West. Who wins?
My heart wants to be the Cardinals so bad, but I think the Niners will still get it.
I think so too. I think they're going to turn it on, aren't they?
I will say, I think we've learned a little bit more about who Brock Purdy is, and he's the same as every other Kyle Shanahan quarterback, where it's less about the guy and more about, as long as I can get someone who can get into the real player's hands, we're fine. He loses the real guys. Brock Purdy is Jimmy Garoppolo. He's Colin Kaepernick. He's what it always is. He's Matt Ryan. But I do think the wheels will start turning again. The Niners always have a midseason slump. They will come back. boy, I'm pulling for the Cardinals, but they are like Schrodinger's football team, man. They're either going to be world beaters or they're going to be hot garbage.
I mean, that would be really something if the Niners, obviously that they've had a lot of injuries, but if they don't make the playoffs, that would be crazy. So
I'd rejoice. I'd be so happy. I'd be like, finally, the boogeyman can't get me.
I'd be like a couple seasons too late for me, but
fair.
Yeah, I think the Niners turn it on. CMC had his first game back and had over 100 scrimmage yards.
Yeah.
So I just think, they're going to get their weapons back, and then Purdy's going to look good again, like you said, because he's going to have his weapons back. Now, Ayuk is out for the year, but, Debo and then it looks like Ricky Pearsall's coming along there. I think he was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Technically, he was at the end of the first round. Yeah, so interested. He scored his first career touchdown this past week, so I don't know. I just feel like Kyle Shanahan team finds a way, especially in a division that hasn't separated, so it feels like it's poised for them to at least make it in, and then we'll see what happens. I don't think anybody wants to face that team, put it that way. So
yeah, especially not Packers fans. I'm so tired of them beating me in the playoffs.
Under this format, they would be... I mean, they theoretically, between the NFC South and the NFC West, they're going to have a 3 and 4 seed. They're all middle of the road, so... It's
such a weird
It's not outrageous
conference.
To think, like, the Niners could be the 3 seed,
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, easily. Like, it's so top-heavy in the NFC. Like, it's the Lions and everyone else.
Totally.
Once the Niners get good, they'll be in the conversation. And if they do get the 3 seed, they're likely facing Green Bay at the 6 seed. And I swear to God, I will pull out my facial hair. I'm be so upset if it's to face that damn team again.
Okay.
You feel me.
That was fun. Through the season, it'll be fun to look back at those and see how it pans out. But Grant, now it's time for What You Feeling. I will turn it over to you. What are you feeling like?
Oh boy, it's been a week. It's been really heavy fucking week. So what I have noted and what my saving grace here is, I've been really vibing with the relentless power of community. Listen, I don't mean to preach to sports fans, but I feel like I'm in the right place here. It's gonna be a brutal couple of 2 years for those of you who enjoy having money or going to school or thinking about other people. And we kind of have to really reevaluate who we are on the left-hand side of things. And I think the big thing is we've all become a little too individualistic. We've all been a little too concerned about watching out for number one. Our kids are starting to get radicalized, you see. So we really need to find a way to group back together. Check in on your neighbors. Reach out to your online and in-person friends. If you have a person who's going to be very affected by upcoming policies, like if they're queer or trans or anything, or a person of color, make sure they're okay. Make sure you're on their side. Make sure we're taking care of those who are going to be the most vulnerable. And let's find third places that we can go that aren't school or work. Let's find a way to get to support your local libraries. That's a good place to start. Tell a medical worker thank you, because they're about to go through some fucking hell too, because that's going to probably be a whole... Speaking of, wear a mask again. Just to cover our bases, go get vaccinated and wear a mask again. That's a good way to take care of your community, even if you don't have COVID. If you got a cold, wear a mask, whatever. Don't get people sick. Make people understand that they feel close and loved. I will tell you, the thing that has kept me tethered and not losing my mind thinking about the what ifs over the last 7 days has been reaching out to people, making sure they're okay, them doing the same for me, building our community stronger, and staying on top of that. Because by ourselves, we can't be trusted, apparently. So it's good to have your community around you. And, listen, if you're a shy introvert, check on your online community. Make sure the people in the red states are doing okay. Premal's in fucking Ohio. So, check on Premal. This is the time. This is the time to really show who we are and show our love and appreciation. And even do it for the people who are on the right. Because you know what? They're going to hurt, too. Once they learn what a tariff is, do you want to know what the number one Google thing is when they learn that? How do I fix my vote? has been a trending Google search. Literally. Like people read the fucking plan and they go, oh my God, what have I done? I just wanted eggs to be cheaper. Check in on them too. Make sure they understand. There's this sentiment going around that, like, you know, people really want to dunk on the idea of, like, just because we disagree doesn't mean we can't be friends. And, like, yeah, don't be friends with racists and sexists and transphobes, but, like, do be friends with the people who just thought that maybe the guy who gave us an enemy was going to help them, because he's not going to. So make sure they're okay. Make sure they understand what's happening and how they can fix it in 2 or 4 or 8 years, you know? Just rally together.
Totally. Love that. That's a perfect message, and it kind of applies all the time, but especially with this crazy, we'll put it as crazy week. So yeah, definitely important to check in on.
It's easy to get complacent and in your own feelings, you know, so just, you know, think of others, help yourself.
It's okay to sit in those too, but eventually, check in on the people if you're in a place to do so, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
They're great. So what I'm feeling is, first of all, Casey Musgraves concert here in Columbus. So I'm excited about that. It's my first go at anything even remotely adjacent to country music, but I'm a big Casey Musgraves fan, so excited to do that.
Casey's the exception to the rule always.
And also, I'm excited about holiday season, minus, like I told you, Halloween, but I love Thanksgiving as an adult. Love the holidays in the winter, whatever it is you celebrate, but just love the time with family. Love, you know, getting to experience it through my boys' eyes. But yeah, I'm excited for that time and like a rest and recharge and all that stuff. So getting some quality time. So I'm digging that coming up. Not digging having to bag leaves soon, or hopefully I can find a way to not bag them so it's good for the soil. But we have a ton of leaves, having to deal with that and the winter and all that part. But love the holiday part of the equation. So
it's a nice break. It's a nice break. It's a good opportunity to be with your loved ones too, you know.
Totally. But don't stop checking it out.
You know, the last time I was here, we also talked about Thanksgiving, and we were like ranking Thanksgiving foods. So it's kind of a neat full circle there.
I'm still team stuffing.
I was gonna ask. Really? I'm also still team potatoes. So
okay. It's a close second for me, but I am all about the side dishes. So
oh yeah, I mean,
I've had really good turkey the last few years, but I don't crave turkey like that. But like stuffing, man, that's just good.
It's not my go-to bird.
Potatoes, good.
My only Thanksgiving hot take, and it's because of a personal experience, which I won't go into detail of, but the only one that I can't do anymore is pumpkin pie, due to a very unfortunate thing that happened to me in Kansas.
I'm not a pumpkin pie fan, so this is a safe space for that.
Great.
Honestly, it's gonna be a hot take for you number one podcast listeners. Pumpkin pie is trash. You guys need to know and take these vegetable pies out of my face. So
this is an apple pie house in my place.
Yeah, love that. I'm apple pie, all for it. So pumpkin pie, trash. Sweet potato pie, also trash. Sorry, I said what I said.
I love it.
Okay, you know I like to wrap up each episode. Number one podcast listeners, it is time for that too much sense. So let's hit that intro. Okay, my too much sense for this episode is that sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because it unveils their mistakes and demands change they aren't ready for. That's a hard truth. It is very important to keep in mind. Be patient. Do your best to sense when it's time to provide the hard truth. You know, some people take pride in like giving hard truths out as if it's some kind of personality trait, but there absolutely is a right and wrong time to do it. And if it's someone you love, be wary of this. Sometimes they're not ready to hear it and ready to face their own self and their own wrongs, which, like it or not, some of us struggle with that to any amount of degree. So sensing when it's the right time for that, not taking a victory lap if something is really wrong that they're doing, a mistake that they're making that you want to point out so badly. Just keep in mind who you're really doing it for. If the intentions are good, that's the most important part. But if you're doing it to take a victory lap, it's probably not a wise use of time, and in the long run, it's probably not going to make you feel good. But yeah, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because it unveils their mistakes and demands changes they aren't ready for. I thought that was deep and profound. So keep that in mind, especially this holiday season, as you have conversations with family and friends around if you celebrate Thanksgiving or any kind of holiday table you're gathering. Keep it light if it calls for that. If it calls for heaviness and people are ready to face themselves, then it is the appropriate time. But it isn't always. I will say that, number one podcast listeners.
I'm here for it. The hardest thing to learn is how to be okay with being wrong. It is it's a constant challenge and struggle, especially in this age that we live in, where so much is predicated on everything being part of your identity. So yeah, patience on both sides. Yeah. Learn to be comfortable with being wrong, and learn to be comfortable with someone not accepting that they're wrong. If they are worth it to you and you love them, be patient.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say on the flip side, there is an art to learning to be okay with being wrong.
Still learning it, brother. Still learning it.
I am still learning it too. I've made a lot of progress on it, and sometimes our pride takes over still, but there is positive quality in being able to accept criticism. So if you're on the receiving end of it, and it is someone that you know loves you, exercise that their intentions are good and only positive for you as much as you can. Sometimes in the moment you can't, but as you sit and reflect, that's an important thing too. But all right, number one podcast listeners, this does it for a brand new episode of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. I'm Premal Bot. I was joined by my friend, acclaimed podcast host, Game Master Monday host, Grant Nordine. Grant, I was so pumped to have you on here. Your success is well deserved. I was happy to be able to have you on here. So thank you for joining. It had been too long. We'll make sure it isn't another 3 years until the next one.
Yeah, a delightful text to get yesterday to be invited back on, so I was pumped to do it. And hey, you number one podcast listeners, if you like making a difference and donating to charities, Game Master Monday's going to be doing like 3 charity streams in December and January. So come check us out on Twitch too while you're at it.
Love that plug. Yes, check them out. It is very, very entertaining. Watch, listen, all the methods that they have available to you. So again, it's linked in the episode description, and I'll tag his account so you can follow him there. Well deserved, worth your listening ears. A lot of people are going to be traveling, taking road trips. It's the perfect time to get caught up and check out an episode 2 or 3. So, and same goes with Prem Brulee. If you're behind on episodes, check those out. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Review our show. We greatly appreciate it. I can't tell you, number one podcast listeners, how thankful I am. Speaking of 'tis the season, for you all and your support. And you are a huge reason why this continues. So appreciate you all so much. Remember, go get that Magic Mind too. It'd make a great gift. It'd make something great for recovery, for you to be focused on your drive, focused on maybe the arguments, or we'll call them discussions around the holiday table that you have. But magicmind.com/PremBrulee20. The code is PremBrulee20. The information is in the episode description, so you don't have to run this back. It's right there for you. Click on that link, order Magic Mind. I recommend it to my family, my friends, so I never steer my number one podcast listener fan wrong either. But you number one podcast listeners, appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Grant.
My pleasure.
Peace.